Hi there YouTube friends, welcome back to another episode of Auntie's Kitchen. My name's Amanda and I love sharing with people simple and delicious recipes that you can cook here in South Korea using South Korean ingredients. If you're new to this channel, hi, and yes, CEO, welcome. Quick shout out to Noah and to Matilda. I hope you enjoy making this recipe. Today I'm going to be sharing a classic, delicious recipe with you that originated in France where it's called Tarte Flambée, or if you're in Germany, it's called Flammkuchen. This is a very thin crust pizza, but what makes this unique, instead of having a tomato base, we're going to be using sour cream and yogurt. Now in the original recipe, you will have bacon and onion, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today for our savory version. And for our sweet version, we're going to be using apples, cinnamon and sugar, and I'm going to be drizzling some of that homemade caramel that I showed you in the last video that just makes it even more delicious. Now I'm going to be making this dough with my mixer. If you don't have a mixer, that's okay, you can always knead by hand, and I'm going to be cooking both of these in an oven. Stick around to the end of the video. I'm going to be showing you an alternate way to make this with using a pizza oven that just sits on top of your counter. So let me show you today how we make Tarte Flambée Flammkuchen in South Korea. As usual, the measurements for today's recipe can be found in the description below. As I mentioned in the introduction, today I'm using my mixer. If you don't have one, don't worry, just put everything into a bowl and knead the dough with your hands. I start off with weighing out my flour and then add some oil and salt, and then I slowly add the water into the mixer until the dough comes together. I then allow the machine to knead this for about 10 minutes. If you're kneading by hand, just knead for about 10 minutes or until the dough is nice and soft. I then leave the dough for about 30 minutes to rest while I prepare the other ingredients. I measure out some baking paper in the oven tray so I know how big I can make my dough. I then put this tray into the oven so that it can heat up. I cut up a pack of bacon and get this cooking. I just want to start the cooking process. You will notice that I undercook the bacon as this will finish cooking on top of our Flammkuchen. Next, I finely grate some Parmesan cheese, about a cupful. It does not matter what kind of onion you use, just make sure you cut it up finely. Today I stick with the original recipe, but I prefer using red onion as I feel this adds more taste and colour to the recipe. I cut up some chives that we will add to our Flammkuchen once it is cooked, just for a bit of extra colour and flavour. Depending on how many Flammkuchen you are cooking will depend on how much sauce to make. I am making my savoury Flammkuchen first, so I get on with preparing enough sauce to cover 2 bases. I mix some sour cream that I get from Emart and yogurt in a ratio of 2 to 1. I then season with some nutmeg, pepper and the clove of 1 garlic. Briefly mix this together and then add the cheese that we grated earlier. You don't have to add your cheese to the sauce. If you want to, you could, like a regular pizza, just sprinkle your cheese over the top once your Flammkuchen is prepared. But today we are sticking with the original recipe. Now that all of your preparation is finished and it's been about 30 minutes, you can get on with putting together your Flammkuchen. Divide your dough roughly into 3 and then wrap up the dough that you're not using yet so that it stays fresh. Roll out your dough as thin as you can to the size of your oven tray. Ideally, they say, you want your dough paper thin so that you could read a newspaper through it. Place it onto your baking sheet so that you know you have the right size, and then you can get on with adding ingredients to your base. Leave a little gap around the edge so that as it cooks it can go nice and crispy. Add your onions, spreading them out evenly, and then your bacon. You can't go wrong with this rustic looking Flammkuchen or Tarte Flambée. The final thing is to season with some pepper. Get your hot oven tray out of the oven and place your Flammkuchen onto it. Then place it back into the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes until golden brown. If you've never tried Flammkuchen or Tarte Flambée, I highly recommend. Not only is it delicious but really easy to make, as you've seen today. If you thought our savoury Flammkuchen looked good, wait until you see the sweet Flammkuchen. Just as we did for our savoury Flammkuchen, we're going to prepare the ingredients for our sweet Flammkuchen. Remove the core of your apple and then slice it up into thin pieces. Cut up and use the juice of half a lemon over your apples, and this not only stops them from going brown but will add some flavour. Because we're making our sweet Flammkuchen, I switched the ratio so that we have 2 to 1 more yogurt and then add some nutmeg and mix together. Nutmeg is a wonderful spice to have on hand. I got this one from iHerb. It adds a lovely depth of flavour to your recipes and it is great inside of cheese sauces. You will notice that a Flammkuchen or Tarte Flambée is more of an oblong shape than a circle like a regular pizza. Just make it how you want to. Cover the base with some of your sauce and then a thin layer of the apples that we sliced earlier. And then a light sprinkling of cinnamon, followed by a light sprinkling of brown sugar that adds a lovely crunch to the Flammkuchen Tarte Flambée. The final step, place into your preheated oven for 15 to 20 minutes or until golden brown and crispy around the edges. I did promise that we would use some of the caramel from the previous video in today's video, so take your caramel and drizzle it over the top of your Flammkuchen while it is still warm so that it can melt into it. This can be served as an afternoon snack or a fun dessert. However you choose to eat it, I know that you're going to love it. With both the sweet and savoury version, go ahead and experiment with different toppings and make them your own style. As I mentioned in the introduction, I will show you an alternate way of cooking your Flammkuchen or tarte flambée. If you like making pizza, you are definitely going to want to get one of these. It crisps the pizza in exactly the same way as using a stone oven. We ordered this off Gmarket and I love it as it's so simple to use and it takes up about the same amount of space as a rice cooker. As you can see, it crisps the bottom of the Flammkuchen or tarte flambée like it has been in an authentic pizza oven because of the high temperatures and stone base that you usually can't get in a regular oven. So thanks for watching today. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, but most importantly, now go and cook and enjoy and share this recipe with your family and friends. Have a blessed week. See you in the next video. God bless. Chop och hamnada.